Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you the new Go Tubeless kit from Exceed Innovations. I'll show you how to fit it with a Uni-Valve and easy way to get it to fit into your pole and how it works. So for years before I had the over 8 poles I used tubeless kits. There was two reasons for this. The first was that your rectus fittings lasted way much longer. I've had rectus fittings last that long that the O-clips that hold them on have actually gone rusty rather than the rectus fitting being broken. The reason for that is it's protected in an ejector sleeve and this really works well, really protects your rectus fitting really well. The second reason is because all your hose rolls onto your hose reel, you haven't got piles of hose, especially when you've got more than one pole in the van. You haven't got hose hanging all over the place, so it really tidies up the van, makes the van much easier to use. It also makes you quicker because you're not trying to constantly untangle your pole hose. That just winds straight onto your hose reel. So that is actually 3 reasons for using it. Let's have a look at the new tubeless kit. It actually comes in 2 parts. So the first part is the hose reel part with this contains the ejector sleeve on it, a good amount of hose and an O-clip protector and a joiner and an O-clip to hold it all together. So that's what you need for your hose reel end. So that's quite simple. For the pole part of the kit, you get your hose tail with a male rectus fitting in it. There's also a cone moulded onto that. That is all fitted and it's double sleeved to give it extra strength. You get an end bung to replace your existing end bung. Now this is quite important because what Steve's done is had these specially made, so you have to order it specifically for your pole, and he's rounded the inside so as the sleeve goes in and out it doesn't eject it. You also get a John Guest hose stop, which stops your when you pull on the hose, it stops your Uni-Valve from pulling the hose out the gooseneck. And you get a section of hose which goes up the inside of the pole with a straight John Guest fitting on it, which works really well with the Exceed Innovations hose. This hose is so hard actually that you don't even need to put one of the little inserts into it because even whenever you got it in the John Guest fittings, they just don't pull out. It works that well. So we'll go on to how you fit this into the pole. So the first thing I'm going to do is to fit the Uni-Valve. Now, so take your piece of hose that comes with it and cut it in half, roughly in half. Now, it doesn't need to be exact where you cut it because the Uni-Valve can go anywhere in the pole. It doesn't need to go in the top, it doesn't need to go in the bottom, it can go anywhere unless you've got an over 8 pole, then they have to go in the bottom. But for ordinary round poles, they can go anywhere. The thing that's important is you've got a nice straight cut. So these hose cutters are really good and give it a good square, nice straight cut. Now you need to fit your Uni-Valve. So the Uni-Valve I'm using is the one that I refurbished in the recent video I did with the Uni-Valve service kit. So I'll fit the Uni-Valve. So to fit the Uni-Valve you just need a bit of hot water, either a bit of fairy liquid or I've got a bit of silicone grease left from the Uni-Valve service kit, and a couple of O-rings. So just a little bit of grease on there. Doesn't need a lot. As I said, if you haven't got silicone grease you can use a bit of washing up liquid and slide your O-clip on. Now the coloured end, or the end that pulls in and out, goes to the bottom of the pole. So with the ends that you've cut off, the end with the John Guest fitting on it, that can be your bottom end. Now just heat up your end of your hose a little bit just to make it a bit soft, and I've put my O-clip onto the bottom of the Uni-Valve, and then all you need to do is, once that's hot, just push that on. I'll move that out of the way so I don't knock it over. Now they can be quite tight but they will go. Now it doesn't have to go all the way to the end as long as you've got enough to fit your O-clip on, and then once that's on just clamp it tight. Now there's a little thicker section on the Uni-Valve. If you've gone over that, you've gone too far. And then just do the same with the other end. I like to just line up the O-clips. Maybe it's my OCD, it's not essential. And then just clamp that on. And there you've got your Uni-Valve fitted with the grey end or the coloured end, the bit with the different colour on the bottom of the hose. So we'll put the hot water out the way, make sure that's not knocked over. Next you need to fit a new end bung to your pole. So I'm using my old Phantom pole. Fantastic pole this was. It was just using a round pole made my hands ache, and that's why I went over to the main reason I went over to the over 8. So take off the old end bung, which can be tight. There we go. Come in and fit on the new end bung from Exceed Innovations. So these are quite tight, but they will go on. And push that right on until it stops. As I said, these are a really good quality end bung. They do stretch a little bit, but they are very good. Now, once you've got your end bung fitted, take your hose tail, and that needs to just fit into the straight section of the John Guest fitting. Now, I was a bit unsure about these straight John Guest fittings, but they are actually really good. They can take the tugging to operate the Uni-Valve, no problem. So once you've got that all fitted up, all you need to do then is slide the tubeless kit up the inside until it comes out the top. Now you might find it easier if you just take the gooseneck out and thread it through the gooseneck separately, but you don't need to take any of the clamps off. Just thread it through until that comes out the top. And there we go, that's out the top then. Now you can just fit your gooseneck back in. Once you've got your hose through your gooseneck, just put your gooseneck back in and clamp it tight. So once you've got your hose tail in, you need to push this in so you've got roughly 6 inches from the end of the cone shape there to the base of your pole. So push that in until you've got roughly 6 inches or 150 millimeters from there. Now go back to your gooseneck end and you can make a little mark on there. All that's for is to show you when you pull it through, that is where you put your little John Guest stopper to. So the John Guest stopper goes with the black plastic end towards the pole, and it has a little red collet which you need to make sure that's in place. If that's not in place, when you pull on the hose, it pushes the John Guest shut and that will allow it to slide. So that little red collet there stops it from sliding down. So then you just feed that onto your end of your hose until you get to your little pen mark that you made, and you know that's the point that you don't want it to go any further. Now sometimes these do slip slightly. I haven't had a big problem with them with these lately, but sometimes they do, so you can just wrap a little bit of tape around the hose just to make sure that it doesn't slip, and that will hold it all nice and firm. And then just pull the end back through and it stops at the collet. Then all you need to do, cut your hose off to whatever length you need it to fit your brush. I haven't got this one set up because I haven't got any brush or gooseneck on it at the moment, but I will put it together and I'll show you how it works once it's all put together. So now you've got your tubeless kit fitted in your pole, all you need to do is attach your brush, and any extra that you got here you need to just trim down. So I've got a swivel on this one, so I'm just making sure that's will turn enough with the swivel on, and then just trim the hose down to the length that you need it. Now the good thing about the Exceed tube is it is very hard, so you can push it into a John Guest fitting and it stays there. You don't need an insert in it. It really is that tough. So that's, just give it a wiggle, make sure it's long enough with the swivel on, and then that's ready to use now. So all you need to do now is attach your hose to your hose reel. Now I, as I've said, have made up a little fly lead with a slick connect on. The end of my hose is slick connect, so again, throwing stuff on the floor, again with the John Guest fitting, just a straight John Guest, push in until you feel it stop, and you'd never pull it apart. Those are absolutely solid, really tough. So you don't have to use the slick connect, you don't have to use a rectus. It actually comes with a straight fit in, but I like to be able to disconnect it so I can use other brushes and other attachments in it all at the same time. So and also at the moment it isn't set up for the over 8, so I'm just doing this one for demonstration, so that's why I've done it like this. So connect your slick connect, and now all you do is wind that hose onto your hose reel. So that's wound on to the hose. Now that will stay on there as long as you're using the tubeless kit. So when you've got your pole in the van, all you'll have is that little hose tail sticking out. Now you can push that up the inside if you haven't got, if your gooseneck's loose enough to let it through, or you can just extend your pole a little bit, and that will just pull it up the inside if you don't want it sticking out at all. But as I said, all you've got is that little 6 inches of your hose tail sticking out. Now when you come to use it, all you do, hold your sleeve, your ejector sleeve, and it just pushes together. It's that simple. You can pull on it as much as you want, won't come apart. So that's your rectus fitting protected inside your ejector sleeve. When you go off, clean your windows. When you come back to undo it, all you do is hold the ejector sleeve and pull, and that ejects the rectus fitting. So it works really well. As long as you don't pull that ejector sleeve, it's not going to come apart. But when you're ready, eject, and that's ready, and then that stays wound up on your hose reel, and all you've got, as I said, is that little short section sticking out of there. Then you can put your brush away. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you're after a tubeless kit, they're available from Exceed Innovation, and as I said, Exceed Innovations, they'll sell you the lot, and works absolutely fantastically. Now you don't have to buy a whole kit when you want to replace it. You can just buy the tail, and that's the double sleeve tail, so if it does get kinked, that double sleeve will really protect it. That works really well. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.